Hi, it's the Irish Gypsy here to bring you your June 2016 general readings. I am still using the Gilded Tarot deck, drawing 8 cards for the month, 2 cards for each week with an additional card as your overall theme and general feeling for the month. These are general readings, so they won't apply or resonate, of course, with everyone who watches them. Don't forget to check your rising and your moon sign as well. There may be some months and some readings where those signs resonate more predictably for you, and some months where other readers will resonate more predictably for you than the ones you normally watch. It's all about you getting all the information you need to get as clear a picture of the time period ahead as possible. Thank you, thank you, thank you always to those of you who continue to watch and listen and subscribe to my channel. I appreciate it so much, and I love your feedback, your support. Thank you so much for all the loving and supportive and complimentary things that you say, and the feedback too. Hopefully the volume issue is resolved for those of you I know who have had difficulty with it. I had someone work on it. So hopefully the volume is a little bit better this month, because I don't want to have to use an outside microphone unless I absolutely have to. So I'm sure that you will let me know if that is the case. Anyway, thank you for continuing to watch. And thank you for the comments you send. I know I say this every reading, but I mean it. Please keep those comments going. I love to hear how the readings resonate for those for whom it applies. And I like that you take the time out to write feedback on both my YouTube channel and the ones you send via email too. It's always fascinating for me to see how that plays forward for you. So thank you, and keep those coming. And thank you in addition to those of you who continue to reach out for personal one-on-one readings. It is an honor and a pleasure to be allowed to read for you. I appreciate each and every one of you who reach out for those. And for those of you who are interested in a personal one-on-one reading, you can click on the About sign on my channel's homepage, and that will give you a little more information and detail on the services I offer and my contact information. And you can email me at maggie1mcguire@gmail.com. I do readings full-time, so I'm pretty good at getting back with you quickly and setting up a reading time as soon as we can schedule one, whether that is via Skype, phone, or recorded reading. So again, if you're interested, send me an email. I would be delighted to work with you, and we will go from there. I'm often asked about turnaround time, and I can almost always get you booked in within a week because I do this full time. Typically anywhere from about 1 to 4 or 5 days, but almost always within a week. Okay, let's get right into this. This reading is for Aries for June 2016, Aries, June 2016. Fire sign Aries, my adventurous, restless Aries. Babies of the zodiac. What does the beautiful month of June 2016 hold for you? Show me Aries, Aries. Energy for Aries, June 2016. Aries, the Ram. Fire sign of Aries, 2016, June. June 2016 for Aries. Okay. We begin with the Two of Swords, followed by the Nine of Swords, the Nine of Cups, followed by the Wheel of Fortune, the Seven of Wands, followed by the Strength card, the Nine of Wands, followed by the Ten of Wands, and from the bottom of the deck, your overall crowning card, energy, and theme is the Nine of Pentacles. Wow, Aries, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 nines. You know, when we get that large of a grouping of nines together in one reading, particularly only with, you know, it's interesting, you have 4 nines, and we have 9 cards in this reading as well. But such a large grouping of nines would point towards, perhaps some of you may be feeling a sense of isolation or a loneliness, but it also, that grouping of nines together can also represent going within, kind of a deeper awareness and acknowledgement, a growth sort of period as well. And sometimes during, you know, those time periods where we have the most growth, it's because we're doing a lot of inner work which often other people cannot be with us on that path, even when we're around other people. It looks like perhaps for some of you Aries, for June 2016, it looks like a month of tremendous inner growth and awareness. And for some of you, that may feel a little lonely, but there's some beautiful bright points in this as well. And ending with that 9 and 10 of Wands, I think at or towards the end of June 2016, Aries, um, you're going to be just about at the end of any challenges that you have been going through or are currently going through. It looks like there's just one last little bit of a hump to get over. But again, don't get freaked out. There's some beautiful things in this reading as well. Let me just take a quick look and see if anything else is coming out before we start. Okay, let's begin. We find ourselves at the beginning of June 2016, Aries, with the Two of Swords, followed by the Nine of Swords. So the Two of Swords, swords being governed by the element of air, it's a suit that's all about our words and our ideas, our thought processes, outlook, perspectives, our mindset, how we look at things, our belief systems, very mental and cerebral suit. The Two of Swords points towards being, I think at the beginning of June 2016, Aries, a lot of you are going to feel like you're at a crossroads of some kind and perhaps stuck in that crossroads energy. This card represents, as symbolized by these two swords crossed in front of this woman, it can represent having two distinct choices that need to be made or feeling as if there is an important decision that you need to make about something. This can also represent something being in front of you that needs to be dealt with that you have, at least up until now, been unable or unwilling to deal with, as represented by the blindfold over this woman's eyes, not knowing what to do, needing something in your life, something in your sphere that needs to be dealt with. The fact that it has come up in your reading, Aries, would point towards now being the time that you need to deal with that. Take the blindfold off, deal with whatever's in front of you to do, and make the decisions that need to be made. And it looks like this is causing you a fair amount of stress. And I feel like for a lot of you, whatever it is that you're facing, some kind of challenge, a decision, it feels like a kind of a big decision. I mean, the Two of Swords is accompanied by the Nine of Swords. And I feel like it's causing you a great deal of stress. And for some of you, it's going to be not dealing with this that's causing you a great deal of stress. I think the advice that I'm getting quite strongly right now is to take that blindfold off, look at whatever it is that's in front of you to be decided, to be dealt with, and deal with it head on, because procrastinating, I feel like for a lot of you, you've been procrastinating on dealing with something or making a decision about something, and that's actually causing the majority of your stress. And it's internal stress too. That Two of Swords is accompanied by the Nine of Swords, which is a card of a tremendous amount of mental stress, anxiety, and worry. As you can see, symbolized by the woman in this card, she is sitting up in bed. It is late at night. The moon has risen high in the sky. You can see these nine swords all crossed, interlaced, pointing down at her. Now, this can represent a variety of different stress sources, or one great big huge one that you're dealing with. However this resonates for you specifically, Aries, it looks like it's causing you a great deal of mental stress, anxiety, and worry. Some of you may be having difficulty sleeping at night. It may be affecting your day-to-day life, how you just kind of operate day to day. It feels like an underlying thing, and I'm getting kind of, as I often do with this card, a feeling of circular thoughts going around and around and around in your head. And I feel like for the majority of you, if not for all of you, that the source of this, that you need to deal with whatever this is that's in front of you to deal with. You need to take the blindfold off, look at it head on, make the decision that you need to make about it, and deal with it head on, because I feel like that's the source of this stress. And this card can also be somewhat illusionary, because And I don't say that to trivialize or mitigate any real sources of stress or worry or anxiety, but it is the Suit of Swords, which does represent more mental, cerebral uh, thought processes. And the Nine of Swords is a card that often comes up for people when they're actually making something to be bigger in their heads than it actually is reflected in their external environment. From the cards that I see laid out here, Aries, it does look like there are some very real and tangible issues that you are dealing with. And again, I feel like there's a major decision in front of you or some kind of significant decision that needs to be made. But I feel like not dealing with it is causing you more stress and anxiety and worry and fear than the actual situation or the actual decision uh, is reflecting. So again, yeah, I just keep getting that loud and clear that that whatever it is needs to be dealt with. I feel like you've been sitting on it long enough, ruminating on it long enough. It's time to actually take that blindfold off, deal with it, make whatever decisions you feel are best for you to make. And that's what's going to pull you out of this Nine of Swords energy because it's too much. You're stressing too much about this. Now, next to that, we have this really awesome combination of cards right after this stress-filled, anxiety-filled beginning of the month, Aries, which I'm sorry to see for you. But again, pull back, take that blindfold off, and deal with it. I know I probably just said that about 15 times, but it just keeps repeating in my head. So enough. So next to that, we have the Nine of Cups, followed by the Wheel of Fortune. The Nine of Cups, the Yes card, the Wish card. So Cups is governed by the element of water, and that's a suit that's all about our emotions and feelings. It's also a suit that can represent love and relationships as well. The Nine of Cups is universally referred to as the Yes card, the Wish card, the having what you want card. At the risk of sounding really cheesy, I've heard it referred to as, your dream coming true. It is a card of abundance, of actually not just having enough, but having more than enough, and a sense of just kind of celebrating with other people. Your cup runneth over. You can see that the man in this card is holding up his own goblet. He has enough to eat, he has enough to drink. His physical surroundings are quite comfortable. Not only does he have enough for himself, but he has enough to share with his friends and family, as represented by these other 8 goblets, upright and full, just waiting to be passed out. This is a card of having what you want. Sorry for the pause, Eric. I'm just kind of getting something else here and kind of putting it together. Let's continue through and I'll touch back on it in just a minute. So with that Nine of Cups, we have the Wheel of Fortune. It's an extraordinary combination. I think for some of you, not for all of you, somewhere around the second week of June, roughly around that time being fluid, of course, and the cards don't come attached with specific dates. The wheel is always turning. But somewhere around the second week of June, for some of you, you are going to be, I feel like you're going to be getting something, receiving something unexpected. That's very beneficial. For some of you, you're going to be getting some kind of, I'm getting a win. You're going to be winning some kind of, being gifted some kind of money. Some kind of money is going to be coming to you from an unexpected source, whether that's, winning. I don't get the feeling that it's going to be like a tremendous win, like, the lottery sort of thing. Although if it is, message me. I want to know. But I feel like something unexpected, some kind of unexpected blessing, stroke of good luck is coming your way. And it's going to be the answer for something that you need. And it's going to be more than enough to deal with something, some kind of financial thing that you've been dealing with. It feels very specifically oriented towards a handful of you. That Nine of Cups is paired with the Wheel of Fortune, major arcana card. The wheel is always turning. At times, it can feel like it's in the upswing when it feels like things are going well, all the puzzle pieces are connecting. And at other times, it can feel like it's on the downswing because things are not going well, the puzzle pieces are not fitting together as we want them to. The key to kind of understanding and utilizing the energy of the Wheel of Fortune is to understand that it is constantly turning. The wheel of life is constantly turning, and how we move through it is really based on our perspective of it. And again, I'm just feeling, I'm getting like an influx of cash with this combination of cards. For some of you, this is going to represent, I'm just getting engagement. For some of you, I think, wow, that came out of nowhere. For some of you are going to be receiving a marriage proposal this month, uh, and it's going to be unexpected. So for those of you who are dating or in a currently established relationship or in a serious relationship of some kind, I'm hearing that some of you are going to be, you're going to be receiving a proposal of marriage. Others of you, this beautiful combination of the Nine of Cups and the Wheel of Fortune is going to represent a win of some kind, a gift of money, money coming from an unexpected source, just out of the blue, unexpectedly. You weren't expecting it. It's a beautiful thing. And for some of you, it's going to represent having more than enough to take care of some kind of financial issues that you've had, debts or something owed. So that's kind of interesting. And perhaps for those of you for whom that applies, and you'll have to let me know how this resonates for you moving forward through June, the source of a lot of this stress and worry and anxiety and fear is money related, because I feel like this influx of cash that comes, there's this tremendous sense of relief because it's taking care of a financial bind that you found yourselves in. So for those of you for whom it resonates, good for you. And again, for some of you, you're going to be receiving a proposal of marriage this month, and it's really going to take you off guard in a really beautiful sort of way. I'm getting for a small portion of you, I think just a handful of you, are having issues with your home, um, foreclosure, or you're back in several house payments or loan payments or something to do with your house. It's been causing a great deal of stress, and you receive unexpectedly an influx of cash or a gift of cash that allows you to catch up on that and um, save your home or take care of something serious around your home in some way. For some of you, this is going to represent that you've been expecting to get cash back, and maybe this is a tax refund sort of thing since we just finished kind of the tax season here in the United States. It's going to represent that you're getting back a lot more than you actually had anticipated on getting. And again, for the bulk of you, though, for whom this represents a win of some kind or an influx of cash unexpectedly or more than you were anticipating, it's going to be able to enable you to deal with some kind of back debts or home foreclosure or being behind some kind of serious financial bind that you've really been stressing about. And it's going to enable you to use that to just getting save your home or defend your home or defend something that you feel a sense of ownership in. And it's interesting because the very next set of cards we have, this feels like a very strange reading. I'm just getting kind of these different sort of messages from different directions. Now it's interesting because the next set of cards that we have, Aries, is the Seven of Wands, followed by the Strength card. So the Seven of Wands is primarily a defense card, a card of, it could represent being defensive or being too defensive, but I'm getting that for the majority of you, this is actually defending something in a positive way, standing by something, defending something that you have a sense of ownership in because of everything you've invested. Seven of Wands. Wands is governed by the elements of fire and air, so very dynamic combination, very fiery suit. It's a suit that represents change, movement, action, power, creativity, enthusiasm. It can be a suit that points towards career, can represent career, creative projects. The Seven of Wands is a defensive card. You can see there's a man standing in front of the door to his castle, his keep, his home, his substitute, whatever this reading is about for you. Something that he feels is his, something that he feels a sense of ownership in because of everything that he's invested in it. And he's holding one of these wands up in a defensive posture because he feels he's being threatened or challenged. What he owns, this thing that he feels so strongly about, is being challenged or threatened somehow by these other 6 wands pointing at him. And for some of you, this is actually, I'm getting, going to represent your actual home. And again, I'm feeling that for those of you for whom that resonates, this stress, this source of stress and fear and anxiety at the beginning of June 2016 and probably May as well, because I'm recording this at the end of May, represents some serious financial issues with your home. Maybe it's under threat of foreclosure, or you're back several payments, or there's just some other kind of serious financial issues. You get this influx of money or resources that enable you uh, to save whatever it is that you're worried that you're going to be losing, whether it's your home or something else I feel attached to money. You're going to be able to save it or defend it somehow, which is what this card is representing. The Seven of Wands can also represent speaking your truth, standing up for something you feel very strongly about in an honor, integrity kind of way. But however it plays out for you, Aries, it's about defending that which you have invested a great deal of yourself in. And the Seven of Wands is accompanied by the Strength card, another major arcana card, beautiful card. This is a card of, well, of strength, but not that kind of brute force, aggressive, wave your sword in the air, look at my big muscles kind of strength. It's a quieter, more grounded, kind of self-confident strength. This card can also represent having come to terms with parts of yourself, dealing with fears, overcoming fears, making peace with your own inner demons, so to speak. It's a card of coming to terms with yourself, all of yourself. And for some of you, it's going to represent facing some fears that you've had, standing up for something you believe in, defending strongly something that you've invested a great deal of yourself, coming to terms with it, facing fears and overcoming them successfully. It's a beautiful card. It's also a card of self-empowerment and self-confidence, the kind that comes from basically conquering yourself. So for a lot of you, however this resonates, it feels quite intense on an internal sort of level. Dealing with demons, facing your own fears, some very deep fears, being given almost from the heavens the resources, however those resources manifest, to be able to face those, to come to terms with them, to successfully stand up for yourself in some way. And this could be against another person as well, or a group of people as well, particularly those of you who are dealing with any kind of legal issues. Strength, coming to terms with it finally, standing up for yourself, defending that which you have invested in, and doing it very successfully. Now, at or towards the end of June 2016, Aries, we have the Nine of Wands, another 9, and the 10 of Wands. It's as if the last push comes in at the very end of June, like the third, fourth week. And I think for some of you, I'm looking at all 4 of these 9s together. I think for some of you, maybe even for a lot of you, there's going to be a sense, maybe not continuously throughout June, of feeling maybe quite alone, or having to, at least, again, I'm getting just dealing with internal stuff. This is a month of, for a lot of you, not all of you, but for a lot of you, a month of going within, of facing fears, of facing your own demons, perhaps of facing up to the consequences of certain mistakes you've made or bad choices that you've made, that you've really been procrastinating on or just were afraid to look at, taking the blindfold off, and the universe meeting you and providing you with the resources to deal with that, to face up with them, to face your fears and conquer them successfully, to have the resources or the help in whatever form it shows up in. For some of you, it's going to be tangible. For others, it's going to be more spiritual or emotional support or love. Being able to successfully stand up for yourself, successfully defend that which you have invested in, successfully face and conquer your own fears and demons and consequences of maybe some poor decisions that you've made in the past. Coming to grips with all of that. It feels like it's all about that, and self-awareness and growth this month. Some battles, some internal challenges, but success, and gaining so much strength and confidence at the end of it, Aries. It looks like there's one final push maybe the third, around the third week of June, beginning of the fourth week, we have this Nine of Wands and Ten of Wands together. It's one last push, one last challenge, one last setting of boundaries. Maybe getting a little bit stuck in some negative energy of the past, but I'm feeling like recent past, uh, a setback, a failure of some kind. I'm just getting for a lot of you, it's dealing with the outcome or consequences of perhaps some poor decisions or unwise decisions you've made in the recent past. This could be like maybe some unwise financial decisions or something you're dealing with it all this month. Being strongly advised to, because this is the month to do it, face it, and deal with it successfully. Perhaps even addictions for some of you as well, unhealthy relationships. I mean, it really could manifest in a variety of different ways. I'm getting an influx of just all kinds of different energies and stories that it could be. So, um, this is a card that represents kind of a temporary withdrawal, but not a retreat. It's a card of temporary setbacks or challenges or obstacles, taking a step back to reflect, assess, and re-strategize before going back in and dealing with this thing. It's like one last push because it's the Nine of Wands. It's not the 10, it's the 9. You're almost there. You can see this grouping of 8 wands in the ground behind this man. They represent an obstacle he's run into, a challenge, a setback of some kind. He's retreated, he's a little confused, he's kind of kneeling down in the grass, trying to figure it out. Did I do something wrong? If what did I do? How can I make this better? How do I get through this? Do I barge right through it? Do I go under it? Do I go around it? Do I take a different path? It's But the point is not to give up. It's You're almost there. You're almost at the end. It's about re-strategizing, maybe getting a little different perspective and continuing to push forward momentum, because you overcome at the end of the month, Aries. You're successful. We also have that Nine of Wands paired with the Ten of Wands, which is a card of being at the end. Tens represent the end of a cycle, the culmination, the coming full circle of something. You're almost at the place where you can lay this burden down, because for a lot of you, it's a burden. It's been a real challenge, a lot of heaviness, symbolized by the 10 wands this man is carrying on his back. Now he's doing it successfully. He hasn't dropped any of them, or if he has, he's picked them right back up again. You've done it successfully, Aries, but it's been difficult. It's been a real challenge. And I think for a lot of you, it's been dealing with yourself, dealing with outcome consequences of some perhaps unwise decisions you've made, dealing with that head on this month. You're just at or towards the end of June 2016. You're just about there at the end. This man's head is up. He's looking at his destination, which is just around the corner, that place where, Aries, you can finally lay these wands down, stand up, and take a deep breath. Again, for a lot of you, it feels like a very intense month on kind of an internal level, but it's really good. It's like this deep growth, self-awareness, maybe a little solitary at times, because that really deep inner work, I mean, we can have people support and love us and be around us, but only we can actually do that inner deep work, and take the blindfold off, face what we've been unwilling or afraid to face. And again, I'm just getting perhaps consequences, outcomes of some previous poor decisions, doing it successfully, coming to terms with it successfully, being able to fix it, getting whatever resources you need in order to do that, so you can finally, going into July, lay this burden down. And what a sense of triumph and inner strength, inner growth, and deep awareness. And your crown card really echoes that too, in the Nine of Pentacles. Pentacles being governed by the element of earth, so it's all about things in our earthly, tangible, material environment. Most often things like money, finances, resources, property, assets, etc. Tangible things we can see and touch and feel. Although you can apply that same Pentacles energy to areas of love and romance, spirituality. It's about tangible results of efforts of what we've invested ourselves in. The Nine of Pentacles is a card of success, abundance, and prosperity, but it's because it's the Nine of Pentacles. But it also is about independence, self-sufficiency, and self-empowerment, which is what this month is all about. What conquering these demons or fears or challenges and overcoming them successfully, that's what you're getting at the end of the month or going into July, Aries. You can see on the front of this card, this woman is, she's dressed in a beautiful gown. It has that sheen of silk about it. She's very well put together. She's obviously able to take good care of herself. She's standing in her beautiful garden. There's a beautiful pagoda there, all these lovely glowing pentacles growing on the bush. And everything is just kind of representative of things that she's enjoying and comforts, luxuries that she's enjoying in her physical environment. It's a card that points towards independent self-sufficiency and self-empowerment, a particular kind of self-confident empowerment, because not only is this woman just enjoying all of these lovely things in her material world, but she's enjoying them knowing that every single one of them she has earned herself by dint of her own labor, her own talent, her own skill, her own courage in building them up. She's built up. She's worked hard and built up a good, solid, uh, successful foundation for herself. Very little, if anything, has been handed to this woman on a platter. She's everything that she's enjoying, uh, symbolized by all these beautiful, physical, tangible things. Everything she's enjoying, she has earned every single one of them herself. And because of that, her enjoyment is accentuated by that sense of achievement, of awareness of what she's worked for so far, and of wondering what else she's capable of. Kind of a card of coming into your own power, self-awareness, self-empowerment, self-confidence that comes from having done the work, from having earned it all yourself, from facing your fears, facing your demons, being honest with yourself, standing by whatever challenges you need to work through this month, Aries. And really, it feels just very powerful. It feels a little scattered because, again, I'm getting a variety of different stories and energies. But the main theme is facing it this month and doing it successfully and achieving just extraordinary level of self-awareness, self-growth, and uh, and the kind of self-empowerment that comes from conquering yourself, basically, and coming to grips with your own self. I don't know how else to put it, but I think you understand. So, Aries, what a powerful reading. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it has resonated for you. And for those for whom it does, as always, please let me know how this plays out for you. I do enjoy hearing that feedback. And again, for those of you who are interested in a personal one-on-one reading with me, you can click on the About sign for more information. And you can also email me directly at Maggie, the number one, McGuire at gmail.com. I would be delighted to work with you. And until I see you again in a couple of weeks for the June mid-month readings, I wish you joy, peace, blessing, and a happy life. Thanks, Aries, and I'll see you soon.